Hello and welcome to this trends report from NewsWhip. What we're going to look at is content in the second half of 2020, and what we can tell you is that engagement with alcohol content is on the rise. So here we can see a return to more celebratory content, whether it's wanting to get back to normal or wanting to celebrate coming out of lockdown. There's a lot more positive engagement with these good time stories. So what we mean by engagement, we're measuring web articles with Facebook and Twitter engagement. So for example, if we were looking at a benchmark of all brands in 2020, what we'd be doing is looking at the stories that have engaged audiences most on Facebook and Twitter. So here, for example, we can see a lot of content with Jack Daniels coming around recipes, but if we wanted to look at Anheuser-Busch and a massive story they had around a 103-year-old woman from Massachusetts beating coronavirus and then celebrating with a Bud Light, we can actually measure the impact of these earned media stories from Facebook, Twitter, and Pinterest looking at web articles. So in this case, we're showing a timeline view of engagement and how it is on average on the rise. Some of the topics that are coming through now, like the holiday season, are creating a huge amount of engagement, whether it's recipe content or just taking this angle, celebrating the holidays, as well as things like fun packaging, or even tropical flavors with people perhaps wanting to return to the beach or a yearning for a holiday. Now, if we wanted to monitor some of these topics more closely across different networks, what we'd be able to do is use NewsWhip to look at the trending stories on web, Facebook, conversations on Reddit, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. So if we wanted to see even just over the last week for whiskey content, what has been driving the most engagement, we can see that there's been a lot of engagement around barrel making. So 40,000 engagements, 10,000 shares with a barrel making story is massive. Again, some conversations about this on Reddit, and we're also able to see on YouTube that the same story from Eater has received around 200,000 views. Absolutely massive. And then even we're looking at whiskey content, we can see on Instagram a lot to do around recipe content that's really driving engagement. So if we want to get a cross-network view and actually even predict the stories that are going to be most popular, we're able to do so looking at a 24-hour time period. If we wanted to measure and predict the biggest stories of the day, here, for example, we can measure this article with Facebook and Twitter engagement and apply our machine learning algorithms to forecast how large that story is going to be in the next 24 hours and tell you that this story of a patient from Nottingham that has just received a COVID-19 vaccine, the first thing he's going to do is have a drink of whiskey. Well, I hope someone buys him a drink. So like that, we can look backwards, we can look into the future across all networks and unpack large themes or sub-themes like animal encounters or Black-owned businesses to help understand what audiences are engaging with most and what stories are resonating nationally as well. I hope this was helpful, and please do reach out if you'd like to understand more around your earned media, benchmarking against other brands, planning for 2021, or just reporting on your earned media for 2020, and we'd be delighted to help. Thank you very much. Goodbye.